Welcome back to Cody in the Cinema for Western Wednesday. And today we're going to be discussing the 1950 classic, The Gunfighter. The Gunfighter has its name and owes its name to Roger Corman, who in an interview with Criterion talked about story notes he made for the picture, and one of those was to change the name to The Gunfighter. And in honor of his life, he has recently passed away. In honor of his life, I wanted to cover that movie this week. So our film starts out with Johnny Ringo played in a terrific performance by Gregory Peck, and he is riding across the desert sand and pulls up to a bar and asks for a drink. He's attempting to keep a low profile that doesn't last very long, and he's sort of challenged by a younger, hungry gunfighter to be. Pretty soon he's in trouble, and he goes to another town called Cayenne. And when he's in Cayenne, that's where most of the actual story picks up that we follow. It seems as if he wants to see a woman he used to love. And a lot of this story and its tension and character development and so forth takes place within this bar while he tries to figure out how he can see this woman again and what he can do to sort of mitigate, is the best way I know to put it, the fears of his former friend, a marshal of the town. Right away, when you see this movie begin in about, I think I counted 2 to 3 minutes of dialogue of characters in the first bar, you learn everything you need to know about who this character was, Ringo, why he was dangerous, what he maybe did do while still leaving some mystery. And in addition to all of this, the film early on, and again with a little bit of dialogue, makes this guy seem as substantial to the history of Western mythology as anyone else, be it Billy the Kid, Wild Bill, you name it. It's a clever bit of screenwriting that I wish I could see more often in newer movies. I feel like that kind of exposition would have taken 30 minutes at least to get through. Instead, the filmmaker decides to handle it with a simple conversation. Now, this movie is brilliant because of what it does not show on the screen. So this is not a shoot-'em-up kind of Western. Again, most of this film is relatively quiet. And it's a reflection of a once very successful gunfighter who's now having to deal with the demons of his past. So when we think about what is the film trying to tell us and how does it do that, this is a movie where the primary theme is that violence is an unstoppable cycle. So, for example, when Ringo is in the bar and he's, again, trying to keep a low profile, he realizes, there's a kid outside he wants to see. And he's wondering, asking the marshal, well, why aren't these kids in school? And he says, well, it's because of you. You're here, and it's disrupted the regular learning opportunities of these children. And it's his presence as this rueful gunfighter that has caused them to miss school, and now they're waiting outside for something to happen. It's not unlike kids today. When they see a fight going on, what do? They take out their phone, they film it, they put it on TikTok. Violence happens over and over again in circles throughout human history. There's a difficulty in maintaining law and order. In this picture, sometimes the practicality of it doesn't really work out. There's a great scene where the marshal is discussing with some of the ladies in town, what do we do with Ringo? And we very quickly realize there's not much he can do if he wants to keep the peace. Sometimes keeping the peace is much more difficult than it seems. There might be an adversary in a window who wants to cause a gunfight, and someone down below may not realize it. And part of what makes this picture work so well is the violence that's waiting around the next corner. Okay, there's a great shot where Gregory Peck's character Ringo is trying to leave the bar, and there's a long, lonely shot of the bar, making it seem like an infinite line. Okay, and that image shows up a few times where there's such a loneliness at the end of that bar, and no one's there, and he's trying to leave, and before he can, this woman stops him to tell him something important to the story, and then we see the mirror. Some people are coming from the back who are going to come into the bar, maybe cause trouble, maybe not. And in addition to that, the violence is somewhat productive for those who want to make a profit, such as Carl Malden's character, the barkeeper, who gives a terrific performance of eagerness and just this sort of opportunistic sense of how can I profit from this violence? And that is seen throughout the picture as well. I feel like of all the Westerns I've watched that have made me feel compassion for an anti-hero, this is maybe the best of those. The black and white photography and cinematography is absolutely stunning, and there is so much good camera work in here. When I was watching this again to prepare for this video, the way that no frame is wasted and that the camera follows the characters cleverly, and often something else that happens, you don't see these long cinematic breathtaking shots because the filmmaker is quite invested in leaving you right here in the bar with this character and feeling as claustrophobic and closed in as he is, while at the same time, like I said, those long, far away end of the bar kind of shots make it feel both closed in and infinite with emptiness. This is a must-see Western. It's an absolute masterpiece, and I think it's the best work I've ever seen from Gregory Peck that counts To Kill a Mockingbird, and he really liked his performance in it as well. So those are some thoughts I have about The Gunfighter in honor of Roger Corman, like I said, who did work on story notes and who helped give us the title. What are your thoughts on The Gunfighter? Have you seen it? If not, you definitely should. Maybe somehow you didn't like it. It wasn't action-packed enough for you. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you next time at Cody in the Cinema.